Why? Why is it snowing? It's March. We should be at the halfway point by now. Start the video. Hello everyone, and as always, welcome to KamenRider Blackman. As today, we will be looking into KamenRider ZO, episodes 23 and 24. And now, just a heads up, before I get into the actual review, I have a quick message to say. Next week, I'd say by March 9th, I will finally get to reviewing KamenRider Agito. This is something that should have been done around yesterday, as of last month in February, because now, as I'm almost done with Agito right now, that's going to be merging in with time that I have for the next show that I will be reviewing. But as it's early into March right now, I hope to get it out by next week. And so after this video, I'll be doing my next video. After this video, I'll be doing my next video. And so I will have my videos for today and my first and hopefully my goal for next week is to have everything prepared for itself by then. And so, because right now, as I'm almost done with Agito, I can't help but be anxious to review it. And now, but a lot of stuff happens, like school, work. But now on to Agito, starting off with episode 23, where Sogo is taking a makeup exam to graduate and fails because it's math, and I don't blame him. And when I was in school, I wanted to crucify math because I was that bad at it. And he gets a makeup for the makeup. And so how exactly do you think that turns out? Does anyone see how relatable he is?
あれはゾディアツ。アストルスイッチでコズミックエナジーのチャンネルを開き、そのエネルギーをマテリアライズしてニュークリーチャーになる。さっきの爆発はエネルギー体をデリートしただけだ。お前、カタカナ使えば頭いいと思ってんだろ。
While dozing off, Sogo has a dream that ends up in a country town, and just to get to the point quicker, two robotic people try to kill him.
機械かい？それとも人間かい？
人間だと思うけど。
人間は破壊する。
See how old people try to ruin everything? Blah blah blah, new writer appears, and it's Jinji Aire, who you all probably know from the Android Kinkaider reboot movie, or as well as recently as Zamigo from Lupin Ranger vs. Pato Ranger. And so now, it's time. KamenRider Kidkai is pretty tough to see it between Quiz and Kidkai on whose suit's more terrible. But Kidkai's is a bit more. Now I thought about it more. Kidkai is a bit more hurting. because black and gold, I love that together. And I also like the construction look on him because he is a robot. But I don't know. It doesn't really sell well. It's just, it looks like Gold Drive took a Slash driver and just humped it until it gave birth to this suit. That's what, that's what this suit feels like for me, pretty much. It's just, yeah. It's, but don't, trust me, there's something a lot worse later, trust me. Anyway, so Sogo only wakes up from the dream from Gates as Kid Kai's another rider is on the loose. Anyway, Sogo goes ZO2, beats him. It's like that. And there's only a parasite remnant of the another rider that survives. There's no host. It's just a parasite going from tree to tree. And so, anyway, Sogo goes back to studying, knocks out again, and dreams about Kid Kai again. And so, here's the 411. In the dream, it's the year 2121, and the Earth has been taken over by mechanical life forms called humanoids. They've taken over everywhere, and all that's left is a human preserve, which is where they are. So, wow. Hearing that story right now, it reminds me of two things. One, KamenRider 5's Paradise Lost, and two, Power Rangers RPM, because it sounds like Vengex would have had a better chance on focusing on Japan, other than Corn City. My best guess, he would have had a good 122 years in office until he can upgrade to Microsoft 3000. So, and Kid Kan himself is a mechanical life form named Rento, and he transforms again in battles, smacking Sogo awake again to find Gates fighting another Kid Kai again, realizing the similarities, and Gates berating him for not studying afterwards, which, honestly, if he hadn't stopped studying for a moment, he would have kept getting his ass beat. Is confronted by Death Note woes and Tsukiyomi. And Tsukiyomi, on the other hand, let me take a moment to talk about Tsukiyomi. I will agree, this has been completely unlike her up till now. Because and in a way it's pretty hypocritical, because Tsukiyomi's been there watching Sogo the entire time, saying if he's going to become an overlord, then he's going to become a good one, and sort of backing him up too. But now it's a bit of a turn to when she actually sees Omazio's power. Like, she's frightened into it. But think about it right now. If he's talking about becoming an overlord, you should keep in mind of how far. I think one thing in ZO that's not really recognized, or is starting to be recognized a bit more and more, is how far this actually goes, of the chance of Sogo actually becoming Omazio. Because with ZO2, he's touching it, because it's his mid-season form. And so Tsukiyomi, frightened by Sogo's growing strength, sides with Death Note woes. And yes, it's unlike her character, because right now she's just been there, and she's just, yeah, I have no defense for her. What the hell, Tsukiyomi? And really, does Sogo look like a threat?
なんかいい匂い。
ラベンダーの香りだ。リラックスして快眠できるぞ。
Anyway, Gates, now trying to get Sogo to sleep to learn anything about Kid Kai to stop him, influenced by the others.
お前の夢はただの夢じゃない。もしかしたら未来を見てるのかもしれん。
Like, wow, you are boring, Gates. Your show is even saying that at this point. So, Sogo goes back to the dream and wakes up to find Rento turning evil. And at the end, and I mention that now because it happens at the end of the episode. So, yeah, I mention that now so we can focus on the reality. Because basically, like, after that, Gates and Death Note Woes are fighting another Kid Kai. Sogo beats him, and the parasite is now discovered, and it's Schwartz's, by Sogo's ability to look into the future. One thing that I take issue with in this show, by the way, is Death Note Woes is close with the Timejackers, but he's against them, and yet it's never addressed or touched on that he's also their enemy until now, and finally there's something that's touching it. Because Schwartz calls out Death Note Woes that he wants the Kid Kai watch for himself and turns Wool into another Kid Kai to access the KamenRider Kid Kai Ride Watch. Though he could do it right there and then, this wouldn't need a two-parter, but Kento Shimoyama and his writing. And there the episode ends with Hora seeing everything and Gates and Tsukomi bailing on Sogo. Episode 4, on the other hand, picks up where we left off, with Rento going out of control as Gates and Tsukomi KamenRider Kajikiero. So, Tsukomi points out that Gates isn't strong enough to actually beat Sogo or get the Kid Kai watch with how he is now, and that's that. Well, you were there. So, Hora finds Death Note Woes to find a future rider, but to no avail because there's no future rider around, and only in Sogo's head. Sogo, on the other hand, back in the dream, doesn't last long, but as he's woken up by Gates, they have company, like it's Tsukomi, Death Note Woes, and Hora, requesting them to save Wool. Her dialogue, on the other hand, doesn't matter because it's information we already know. But anyway, Sogo accepts it as the next time he dreams he finds Kid Kai to use a password to get the ride watch. The password is Rento's phrase like BFF, best friend forever. The most common undated acronym ever is the password that they need for a new form. My cell phone's going off, but I might as well use it. Someone call KamenRider Forze. This is the type of thing that he'll have an orgasm for and make it a 2-part episode. And so, anywho, now, it's assumed right now by some fans that Rento is a manifestation of a robot toy that's from Sogo's childhood that he has written on the back, "Will be the king." Because for some insight right now, the title of this episode, I believe, is called Best Friend 2121. But the point of this, like, the reason why that is because before now, Sogo didn't really have any friends. And pretty much, he was people thought he was weird or something and didn't have any friends. And honestly, I can understand why, because in episode 1, we saw him going around saying that I'm one day going to be king. And so, we learned this, by the way, from Sogo's uncle, and when he was saying this to Tsukiyomi. Enough rambling along there. It's time now for 3 riders to transform and fight together, with Hora there to freeze time so that they can use the password. When it's entered, it doesn't work because that's not the password. At that moment, like, they've learned that the real password is "will be the king," what's written on the robot, and so moment. Realizing the one to realize this is Tsukiyomi as she runs down to the field to enter it in herself. Hora exposes herself for freezing time so that she can control Kid Guy for herself and make Wool her puppet to subjugation. And with time still frozen, Kid Guy free kills Tsukiyomi with firing missiles. That was a terrible shot. You just murdered a few rocks, an army of ants, and possibly the invisible boatmobile.
Man, these guys are elusive.
Anyway, but since death isn't permanent in this show, and frankly, everyone in this show is awful at killing people, Sogo rewinds time. Dude, at this point, you don't need to be king. You're a god. And so, Gates gets the watch, as the password is "will be the king" now. I mentioned that before. Blah, 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 blah. New form. KamenRider featuring Kid Kai. And this suit is terrible. It's just bad. Green and gold are fantastic together, but this suit is just like the worst one of Woze's other forms. It's not good. Let me be real right now. Looking back on KamenRider Woze's other forms, Shinobi, it's passing, but still not my personal favorite. Quiz is just terrible, and this is just, so I guess this is just a bit more bad, because this is just a bit more bad. Like, the detailing, everything on here is ugly. And with another Kid Kai defeated, Wool turns back to normal. That day, Wool screamed for hours until he grew up into an adult, becoming Emperor Wool, and making the last 17 episodes of Jetman amazing for me. Plug moment right now. If anyone wants to know my further thoughts on said series, Chojin Sentai Jetman, it's on my schedule to review, but if I was to say reach 50 or more subscribers, I could make that review happen sooner than expected. Now, as the battle ends, Sogo settles things in his dream, with Rento bringing back to normal, ending the dream, and waking up during his makeup test, only to pass it as the episode ends, with Gates and Tsukiyomi finding a weird coincidence that the future riders come from Sogo's dream, and 2 more toys, well, 2 more items. The Gates Revive Ride Watch, which is Hourglass, and in another Zio Ride Watch. And so that wraps up there. overall, these episodes are fine. There's plenty of room for speculation. I thought I was going to complain about how Kid Kai was just in the dreams where supposed to actually being there in the reality, which I would make Sogo the more likely target. It's like, here's what I'm going to be a bit creative right now and give some constructive and show my constructive side. Because here's the thing. Death Note woes is another issue for the Time Jackers, so instead of just forgetting that he exists, they could focus more on getting rid of him. And since he's not on their side and he's in it for his own motivations to keep so keeping him close would be a bad idea because it's letting your enemy be one step ahead. Ergo, Sogo would be better as a target for the Time Jackers to dispose of. Because why another Kid Can powers come from a parasite? Yeah, why another Kid Can's powers come from a parasite? It is explained, but the fact of the matter being is that it didn't have a host at first. Is left in the air because nothing's really gonna happen or progress from it going from just inanimate object to inanimate object. And now finally, I can say something more about the villains. My one complaint so far about the Time Jackers is that so far they don't really stand out. And finally, they're recognized for something. Wool's been betrayed by both Schwartz and Hora, and I want to see something come out of it. Whether it's something like from Jetman, Tran becoming Transa, but not exactly that. Just you want to see some retaliation. Like, you gotta show that this kid villain actually gives a shit about how people treat him. And like what I said, something more from the villains. Like, I like how they're proactive up to this. I like how the villains are proactive, but once the show ends, what would they be memorable for? Now, and because of these episodes, I now have my own fan theory of Death Note woes, to which I will now explain. Because he's from an alternate future, there's plenty of room for suspicion because of his knowledge on the matter of these future riders. Now, and this one comes from Sogo's dreams. How exactly? You're assuming that, for all we know, this Woes could be using Gates for whatever agenda he has, who would know because we haven't really seen a single thing from this other future. So, let's take a moment to think about another Death Note Woes' actions now up to this point. Okay, Sogo assumingly has powers to create the future. How? That no one just wakes up one day with superpowers. And these are important for Gates Revive. So let's look back on the order of how future riders have came and went, and for the ride watches. With Shinobi, they used the future ride watch. With Shinobi, they just used the another rider ride watch of it and gave it to the present one, and they couldn't beat it because Shinobi's from an alternate timeline. And next, with KamenRider Quiz, Death Note Woes brought him here from the future. And this recent one, Kid Kai, is only something seen in Sogo's dreams, so no one ever really meets him. So these are all really covered up well to these are all set up to cover up tracks. And so you see where I'm getting at now with this? Don't get me wrong, I can still find Death Note Woes to be an amusing character, but now's the time where I'm looking at him with a bit of a side eye as to what he's really up to. And so, two more things before I stop the video. One, like what I said, next week I will hopefully do and put out on Friday KamenRider Agito. And as well as I said before, if there's anyone out there that likes Chojin Sentai Jetman and would like to see me do a review of it for the channel, all I need to do is get 50 subscribers and I will do it. And so, that ends the video for today. If you enjoyed this video, please do not forget to like, subscribe, tell your friends about KamenRider Blackman, and hell, share this video if you'd like to. Let me think. Because this will be shared on Facebook and Twitter. And so, I will see you guys next time. Peace. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.